What's up, everyone? This is Cedric Skysetti.
And I'm Becky.
And today we wanted to talk about the frequently asked questions that interracial couples usually hear or get.
Since obviously we are mixed race couple, biracial couple, interracial couple, mixed culture couple.
What are we?
I don't know. We talk about race quite often. I think it's inevitable just with how we are and who we are. We get questions, I noticed, from either friends or strangers or what I noticed on your YouTube channel, like the comments you get.
A lot of comments.
About interracial dating. And I thought we are very well suited to talk about these kind of questions without, fear of insulting each other.
Right. So the main purpose of this is for us, not only us two, but for everyone out there watching, for everyone to be comfortable with having that dialogue, a respectful dialogue, respecting each other's perspectives and opinions, but also just getting that conversation flowing and started.
Having a good discourse about a difficult subject.
There we go.
Hey, that was nice. And so these aren't questions that I came up on myself that I wanted us to talk about, but actually what apparently are very common to hear for people who are in mixed relationships. And I was wondering, how will we do handling these questions? It's gonna be fun. Do you like the same music?
Ooh. Let's just take a person who grew up in the South, like a black person, and maybe a white person who grew up on another part of the country. Like you would imagine, or people would normally think that black person will probably listen to a certain style of music versus the white person. So let's go super stereotypical. This is not what I think or feel, but just for the sake of argument, like the black person will listen to hip hop or R&B and the white person will listen to like country or rock, right? So those are really old stereotypes, but just to prove the point. So I think that's kind of where the question is coming from.
Okay.
So with us, do we like the same music?
I think we have a very similar taste in music, a very similar appreciation in music, but we have had different exposures.
Yes. For example, I literally exposed this girl to Michael Jackson.
I knew who Michael Jackson was.
But you really didn't even know some of his songs.
Some of his songs.
Thriller and Beat It, and that was it. I grew up in a household listening to a lot of Motown and Michael Jackson. And I don't know if your experience was different, but I was kind of accustomed to that sort of music, that style of music.
Doo-wop, golden oldies,
right?
The Rat Pack. This is kind of stuff I listen to. And then my mom would listen to Korean hymns or classical music.
With our experience, we're kind of down the middle. Some of our tastes are the same.
But I like what you show me.
Yeah, and likewise.
Is it awkward to talk about race?
With you, no. So we're both half Korean. And so I think it comes naturally for us because we have a common ground to begin our conversation from.
Sure. I think the reason that people have trouble talking about race is because one, either they don't have that common ground, they're afraid of offending.
Right.
Maybe they don't think it's important to them personally. Then if you don't have to face that, then I guess you never would even think about it.
Right.
But us having grown up already just in that kind of setting, this multicultural setting, it's just part of daily life. I
talked to Becky a lot about my experiences growing up around African Americans in the community that I used to run with and things like that, and the things we used to do, the music we used to listen to. I had to explain to her what it meant to be invited to the barbecue, and if you're not invited to the barbecue, you're not in yet, right? So I had to kind of explain that to her. So things like that, we get to learn from each other.
Yeah, this is what I've noticed when it comes to talking about race with you in particular, is that I don't feel a fear of offending you.
Right.
I think that's what it is, because we both realize we're coming from a similar place.
That's a good one.
Good. Do people stare when you go out on dates?
Well, the context is we're living in Korea.
Sure.
We're living in Seoul, the biggest city in Korea at that. Not a lot of foreigners compared to other countries, but I think there's enough here for the common Korean to be used to seeing foreigners in Seoul. So with that being said, I don't know if they're staring at us because we're together or just because we're foreign. But I don't really notice stares that much, to be honest with you.
People are like, is she Korean or what? I'll get looks for that. Or our height, we're both quite tall.
Right.
In Korea, there's not as many black people as there are white people, let's say.
That's true.
Right? And so you do get stares for that. And you're also very handsome, so people are just like...
Staring is probably, I wouldn't say it's accepted in Korean society, but it's probably a little bit more common than in the States. In the States, you stare, you know, you're gonna get the face.
Don't do that. Sorry. Do you see each other's race?
Oh, that is good.
This is a good question.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first.
Why?
So I just want to hear what you say.
So, when I first met you, the only thing I saw was you were half Korean. That was the first thing when I saw you. I was like, half Korean. And then it was like, maybe afterwards I was like, oh, and he's also half black. So this would be interesting because it's different from me. The more that I got to know you, then I would be like, whoa, okay, this is experiences that I don't know. Or these are ways that I don't think. Or these are words that I don't use, right? Even the vernacular might be different. And so now I just see you. I think it's too much to say like, I don't see race. This is inevitable.
Sure.
You can't say I don't see race.
Right.
It would be like, I don't notice that you have hair on your head. Obviously you have hair on your head. Everyone has different kind of hair. Okay. And by saying that I don't see race, this is not a way to avoid offending people or saying we're all the same. But you should acknowledge race. And so in this regard, I do say like, oh yeah, you're different. Look at us, our skin color is different. But I don't think it's so significant that it makes up everybody who you are.
Sure.
Because I just see you, I think.
Right.
And all of these components make up you.
Of course, I think at first I noticed that you were half Korean. But you're just Becky to me. I do notice more so than the looks of or the physical features of the race is just the culture commonality. That's what I notice. And that's what's really important for me personally.
Do you ever make assumptions about your partner based on their race?
Ooh.
That's actually a really good question.
You having grown up in a different type of household than me because you grew up with a Korean mom like I did, but you had a white father and a black father. I just assume that the way you grew up and the way you did things, like maybe some of the foods that you ate or some of the entertainment that you consumed might have been different. That's what I assume. And come to find, I think a lot of that is true, but it's not a bad thing. Those are the types of assumptions that I had and probably still have, to be honest with you.
And then, taking it on the other side, because I know you have Korean mom. And so my mom's Korean and my mom cooked Korean food growing up. So I would make these assumptions like, well, he knows what kimchi is and he likes kimchi. Like these kind of assumptions also. Right. Did you ever make assumptions about me that were proved wrong?
I assumed that you were maybe more, I don't know, what's the word, like prim and proper and like didn't have like the best sense of humor or anything like that. That was in the beginning, but I quickly learned. So this girl is funny, y'all.
Because you play the drums, and you played guitar and you would sing, and that was because you did that in church, right? So you told me that. This was something I knew about you early on. Yeah. And also you would say like, oh, like black musicians in the church. These are the words you use. Black musicians in the church are excellent musicians. So I just came to the conclusion that you attended a black church.
Really?
Yeah, do you remember?
Actually, yes, I do remember.
Yeah. So when you showed me your pastor, you're like, yeah, this was my old pastor, and you showed me his video, I was like, what?
He's as white and as country as you can get.
Right. Shocked, surprised. Yeah. How do you deal with prejudices or stereotypes? I think this is more about like outside people looking in.
Right.
Say somebody coming to me and saying like, how could you date a black guy? Aren't you, I don't know, what would be a stereotype? Like,
aren't you scared of him? That he,
Yeah.
Or, I mean, we're getting deep here. Aren't you scared that he's going to leave you? Or,
Oh, those are stereotypes?
Those are like extreme stereotypes, just to prove a point.
Okay. Yeah, so this is, I guess, what the question is asking. Like, how do you deal with those kind of prejudices or stereotypes? Right. Here's a good one. And this was also in your comments. If you're watching, you know who you are. The one who was saying that she's not into you, she's gonna leave you for a blonde guy.
Oh yeah.
Like, and make mixed babies. So, yeah, I'm not sorry. But okay, so that's like an outside prejudice.
Yeah.
View, a stereotype. So, okay, how do we deal with those?
The way I deal with it is I let it slide off. So when it comes to like comments, whatever, when it comes to people in real life, I just try to like not deal with them. Unless they're open to having a conversation, we will talk. And so, the context has to be right to have that conversation. What about you?
Me?
Yeah.
Negative stereotypes. Half of me is kind of like, they don't know, right? Half of me is just like, okay, well, they don't know. I also could make stereotypes about something that I don't know.
Sure.
And if, as long as you acknowledge that, and once you recognize you're no longer ignorant, then I think you need to be held accountable if you're making those kind of stereotypes yourself. And try not to get offended or hurt by it, I think. It's inevitable because it feels very personal. Okay, this is the last question then. And this is more of like a positive one.
Okay, good.
So people, I guess, genuinely want to know, what are the benefits of having cross-cultural relationships? Or, I guess in our case, multi-ethnic relationship?
Inter/intraracial relationship.
Yeah.
Intracultural, yeah.
So then, what are those benefits?
For me, one of the first things that comes to mind is just like the dynamics of the relationship, because there's a whole spectrum of things that I can be exposed to because of you, whether it's thoughts, ideas, ways of doing things, ways of looking at things. And even we were talking about like music and maybe other forms of entertainment, like things that I wasn't exposed to, I can get exposed to through you. It just opens my world a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's a big benefit for me.
That's a huge benefit. And this, I think, is another benefit is, I think you become more empathetic. I mean, speaking for myself, especially, and this is just purely in the context of our relationship, is say that I'll be reading the news.
Right.
I'm reading the news and I see some injustice against a Black person in the United States.
Right.
Now, when I read it, I'm kind of like, okay, I wonder what you think about that. And I can bring these questions to you personally, because also I know that you're going to answer it in a format that I'll understand. Oh gosh, this is a culture I'm learning to understand. Or say this is a people group that I want to become connected with. Or
Right.
caring more.
Right, and that's beautiful. And on that note, that's the reason why we're having this conversation. That's the
Right.
reason why we want to do this style and format of video. And we know that a lot of you guys out there are very interested in cultural related topics and cultural relations, and that's something that we're both about. And so if you guys want to hear more or hear us talk about more of those, or really dive deep on one of the questions, just let us know in the comments, and we'll
Sure.
definitely take that into consideration. And we're going to do way more videos like this because we want to make sure the conversation happens.
Yes. To kind of just additionally jump on that.
Right.
Because we're also equally curious and we want to learn too.
Right. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we hope that you enjoyed the video and enjoy the conversation. Again, let us know if you want us to dive deeper into one of these questions, or if you want us to go into another set of questions. Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and also follow us on social media.
Yes.
It'll be on the screen, and we're going to see you guys in the next video. And remember to always seize the day.
Seize the day.
Peace.
Peace, 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 peace.
What's up, everyone? This is Cedric Skysetti.
Oh, I'm Becky. Sorry.
Guys, thank you.
Oh, so sorry. You have this like a YouTube laugh. Did you notice that?
What
You're
is
like, can't do it,
cool
but
laugh.
you have it, and it's like, stop.
Okay,
That's
sorry.
more normal. Okay. So okay.
Let's do it. It's okay.
You know, I feel like I'm a guest, and so I just sit back
No,
and relax.
I'll make you work. All right.